Welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Joe, and I've got my metaphorical cup ready here. Maybe literal, who knows? Ready for some brain stretching.
And I'm Sunny, ready to pour some insight. We're diving into something really fascinating today, sparked by some notes from our friend Micky. It's all about Elon Musk.
Yeah, Mickey's nights really got me thinking. He called it Musk's reality and reinforcement loop philosophy. Kind of catchy, right?
Totally. And it digs into two, core ideas for Musk. First, calibrate close to reality.
And second, don't break your reinforcement learning loop, or RL loop. Sounds techy, but we'll break it down.
Exactly. So today, we're going to unpack what Musk actually means, share some, totally wild stories from his past that really drive these points home.
And then this is the key part. We'll talk about what Micky took away from all this and how it actually applies to us, in our lives, making big decisions, money stuff, or just life stuff.
Right. It's about getting informed, thinking things through, maybe having a few aha moments along the way. So yeah, grab your coffee or tea or whatever you're sipping on.
Let's do it. Okay, first up, calibrate close to reality. That phrase, it just sounds like an engineer talking, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It totally fits with his whole first principles thing he always talks about. Reasoning from the ground up, not just copying what others do.
So what does it mean, though, to calibrate close to reality, in practice?
Well, I think it means you're constantly, adjusting your understanding of the world based on objective facts, right? On data, on the scientific method, almost.
No self-deception.
Yeah.
No living in a fantasy world.
Exactly. And acknowledging that reality can be pretty brutal sometimes. It doesn't care about your feelings.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be willing to just constantly change your beliefs, your strategies, even if it hurts.
That's the core of it, I think. You see new evidence, real evidence, and you have to adjust. No ego. Just, okay, this is the new reality. How do I adapt?
And Musk's life, man, it's just packed with examples of this. Micky pointed out his early days, Zip2.
Oh, yeah. That story's wild.
He didn't even think he'd build anything great, just maybe something useful. And get this, he had to choose between doing a PhD at Stanford.
Which sounds like the safe, smart path.
Totally. Or the internet, which back then, 1995, most people hadn't even heard of it. He thought Zip2 would most likely fail. His words.
Talk about calibrating low. But it was realistic for the time, probably. And the details Micky shared, he couldn't afford a server or a T1 line.
So what did he do? He drilled a hole through the floor of his office in Palo Alto. Literally. Ran a LAN cable down to the ISP on the floor below.
No way. That's amazing. Talk about first principles problem solving right there.
It wasn't just tech stuff either. He and his brother, Kimball, they slept in the office. It was $500 a month. Showered at the YMCA.
Wow. Okay, so that's definitely grounded in reality, the grimy, unglamorous reality of a startup. No illusions there.
And then boom, Zip2 sells for $300 million. Huge money back then.
Insane. But the interesting part for this calibration idea is what he did next. How that experience changed his thinking.
Yeah, PayPal jump. Okay, so he gets this check for $20 million from the Zip2 sale. And before that, Micky said he had 10 grand in the bank. Total.
Just imagine that whiplash.
Right. So what does he do? Put almost all of it into X.com, which, eventually merged and became PayPal.
Why, though? Wasn't Zip2 a success?
It was, but he felt its tech was amazing, but constrained by our customers. They were selling to newspapers, old media. He wanted to go direct to consumer.
Okay, so that was a calibration based on the Zip2 experience. He saw the limitation, the friction, and pivoted his entire strategy. Learn from the reality of that business model.
Exactly. He took the data points from Zip2 and recalibrated his next move.
Okay, so that leads us to Mars and SpaceX. This is where the calibration gets really, really ambitious, maybe crazy ambitious.
Totally. So after PayPal, he's got even more money, and he's wondering, why are we going to Mars? Seriously. He checks the NASA website.
And finds
no date. Just nothing. No plan. No timeline.
Wow. Just a blank space where the future of space exploration should be. That must have been a shock.
Yeah, must have been. So his first idea, this is wild too, was this philanthropic thing called Life to Mars. He wanted to inspire NASA, inspire the public.
Okay, so how is he going to do that?
Get this. He goes to Russia in 2001, 2002. Tries to buy ICBMs, missiles. Without the nukes, obviously.
He tried to buy Russian missiles for a greenhouse.
Yep, to launch a tiny greenhouse to Mars. Seeds, nutrient gel, the whole deal. Just to get a picture of green plants on the red planet. But the Russians, well, they kept jacking up the price.
Oh my God, that's almost comical, haggling over ICBMs. But it shows his initial plan wasn't quite calibrated, right?
Exactly. That was a brutal reality check. He realized pretty quick the issue wasn't just lack of will or even just technology. It was cost. Space travel was just insanely expensive.
So the calibration was, if no one else can make it affordable, I have to do it myself.
Pretty much. So he starts SpaceX in 2002. And again, calibrates his expectations way down. Says there's a 90% chance of failing, maybe 1% chance of success.
90% failure rate. That's not optimism. That's just stark realism.
He even told recruits they were probably going to die. Can you imagine that job interview?
No. And he ended up being chief engineer himself because he couldn't hire anyone good enough who'd take that kind of risk.
Yeah. Couldn't find someone willing to bet on those odds. So he had to learn it himself. And those first few years, rough. The first 3 SpaceX launches failed.
Boom, boom, boom. Just gone. Millions of dollars vaporized.
Pushing him right to the edge. Almost bankrupt. That's reality hitting you in the face. Repeatedly.
And it wasn't just SpaceX blowing up, right? It wasn't Tesla going through hell at the same time. 2008 was grim.
Oh, unbelievably grim.
Yeah,
the third SpaceX launch fails catastrophically. And right then, Tesla's big financing round falls apart. Tesla's about to go bankrupt too.
Jeez. Both companies on the brink simultaneously. And the press.
Oh, they were loving it. Ridiculed him constantly. Internet guy playing with rockets and cars.
Yeah.
Total laughing stock. Painted as completely delusional.
I remember that. The narrative was he was finished, done, overextended, burned out.
But then, the aha moment. Calibration pays off. The 4th SpaceX launch, it works. Against all odds. Saves the company.
He just scrapes through. And then NASA. Right
before Christmas 2008, they award SpaceX this huge contract to resupply the space station. He apparently just yelled, "I love you guys," at them on the phone.
You would too. And Tesla.
Tesla's funding closes. Get this. 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve 2008. The literal last hour of the last possible day. They would have missed payroll 2 days later.
Wow. Talk about calibrating through failure, sticking with it based on that revised understanding and just barely pulling it off. That's intense.
The ultimate example of letting reality teach you, not crush you. Okay, that's calibrating close to reality.
An amazing illustration. Now, let's get into the second part Micky highlighted. Don't break your RL loop, the reinforcement learning loop.
Yeah, this sounds like AI talk. Let's break it down. What is reinforcement learning for, the rest of us?
Okay, so RL, basically it's how AI learns stuff through trial and error, like training a dog. Kinda. Or maybe think of an AI learning to play a video game.
Okay.
It tries an action. If something good happens, like it gets points, it gets a reward signal. If something bad happens, it gets a punishment signal, or maybe nothing.
Like a treat or a scolding for the dog.
Exactly. Wow. And over time, doing this millions of times, it learns which actions lead to the most rewards. It builds a strategy, a policy based on that feedback.
Gotcha. So how does that connect to us, to people? Are we just complex RL algorithms?
Musk seems to think our psychology works in a really similar way. When you finish a hard task or you get praised for something or you just feel that sense of accomplishment, that's a reward signal.
Releases dopamine, makes you feel good.
Right. And it neurologically reinforces whatever behavior led to that good feeling. Makes you more likely to do it again. Keep learning, keep improving.
But the flip side?
The flip side is if you keep trying and all you get is negative feedback or failure or just nothing, your whole learning system can just collapse. Your motivation tanks. You might just give up.
Your RL loop breaks.
Exactly. So the core idea here is even when reality is harsh, and Musk knows harsh reality, you have to find ways to give yourself enough psychological reward to keep going, keep learning, keep acting. Don't get stuck just beating yourself up.
You have to feed your own positive feedback. And Micky noted Musk actually tweeted about this, right? Something about ego.
Yeah, he talked about avoiding the ego ability 1 problem, meaning if your ego gets way bigger than your actual ability, that breaks the feedback loop because you stop listening to reality. You think you know everything, you ignore criticism, you stop calibrating, you stop improving.
So basically, don't get too big for your britches or your toast. Learning-wise, anyway.
Pretty much. And he ties this back to AI, too. He insists AI models have to be grounded in reality. Famously said, physics is the law and everything else is a recommendation.
Love that quote.
It applies to us, too, right? We need to be grounded in facts, in physics, in reality. But crucially, we can't let that reality crush our spirit, break that RL loop that keeps us trying. It's a balance.
He seems completely convinced about AI changing everything. Micky pulled quotes where he calls it an AI tsunami, like this huge wave coming.
Yeah, he sees it as totally transformative, happening incredibly fast. Look at his actions, celebrating the Tesla robo-taxi launch, constantly talking about improving X with AI. launching Grok.
He even claimed Grok 3.5 is going to be the smartest AI by a significant margin. That's bold.
It is bold, but it shows his conviction. And he used this really striking analogy Micky found, comparing fixing normal government problems like cleaning a beach to facing this 1,000-foot AI tsunami. He basically asks, how much does cleaning the beach matter if this giant wave is about to hit? For him, the main quest has to be tech, especially AI.
Because math and physics are rigorous judges, unlike politics.
That's his take. Politics lacks truth-seeking, in his view, while science has that built-in reality check. So his approach is, don't just watch the tsunami, get involved, be a participant.
Even though he used to worry about creating Terminator.
Yeah, he acknowledged those fears, but now it's like, pedal to the metal. Humanoid robots, superintelligence. He feels we have to build it, and build it right.
And how does this all tie back together? The reality, the RL loop, the AI stuff.
Micky's notes suggest his core advice, tying it all together, is, try to be as useful as possible to your fellow human beings. That's the goal. And for AI safety, it comes back to truth. Rigorous adherence to truth. Because forcing AI or ourselves to believe lies is dangerous.
Maximally truth-seeking. For us and for the machines. Wow.
Okay, so we've unpacked Musk's ideas. Now, what did Micky take away from this for us, for you listening?
Yeah, Micky summarized it really well, I thought. He said, establish a system. Adjust based on reality. Continuously learn and reinforce. Don't destroy or mess up this system.
That's a great distillation. It's about building a system for growth, not just relying on sheer willpower, something sustainable.
Like a feedback mechanism for your career, or learning something new, or even just handling your emotions day to day.
And the calibration part, Micky stressed, means no illusions, no self-deception, debugging your life like it's code, constantly looking for errors in your thinking, assumptions that aren't true anymore.
And correcting them based on what actually happens. Without beating yourself up, just. Okay, noted, adjust.
And then the critical part, don't break the RL loop. Your system needs fuel, positive reinforcement. If you're constantly blaming yourself, never celebrating wins, only seeing flaws.
Your system grinds to a halt, like that punished AI algorithm Micky mentioned. It just freezes or plays it safe. No more learning.
So if we think of ourselves as this RL model, Micky broke it down, right? The environment is the world around you. Your job, the market, your relationships.
Your state is where you are right now, your skills, money, mood, situation.
Your action is what you choose to do, the decisions you make.
And the reward. That's the feedback. Feeling good, making money, getting praise, whatever tells your brain that worked.
And your policy is your internal rule book, your experiences, your values, how you think you should act.
And the goal is always calibrate that policy based on reality. Like, if the market changes, adapt your strategy.
But also keep that reward system working. Celebrate small wins. Find ways to feel progress, even when it's tough, so you don't just give up. Keep the engine running.
Okay, let's make this super concrete.
Yeah.
How does this apply to investing? A lot of people care about that. It's where reality and emotion really clash.
Great example. So calibrate close to reality in investing. That means decisions based on actual market conditions, real data, not just hype or fear.
No, this stock has to go up, wishful thinking.
Yeah.
No ignoring bad news about a company you own.
Exactly. And practically, Micky suggested things like regularly checking if your portfolio actually matches your risk tolerance, not just what you said it was years ago, adjusting based on real economic cycles. Using financial reports, not just feelings.
Drilling down, like Musk with the rocket materials. What are the fundamental economics of this company or this asset, not just the stock price compared to others?
Precisely. It's about digging past the surface narrative to the underlying physics of the business or the market. What has to be true for this investment to work? That's calibration.
Okay, and then don't break your RL system when investing. This feels huge because money messes with our heads so much.
Totally. Your investment learning system is that feedback loop. Positive feedback happens when you make a good trade based on solid logic, manage your risk well, and it works out. That reinforces good habits.
As you trust your process.
Right. But the danger, the system-breaking part Micky warned about, it can go wrong in two ways. One, you get lucky on a random bet. Make a killing on some meme stock you knew nothing about. Your brain gets a huge reward signal, but for the wrong reason.
So you think you're a genius, get overconfident, and make even dumber bets next time. False positive.
Exactly. Breaks your calibration. The other way is you lose money, maybe in a crash, and the pain is so bad you just quit. Swear off investing forever.
Learned helplessness, the system shuts down completely.
Right. So the key takeaway Micky emphasized is Judge your process, not just the short-term outcome. Every trade, win or lose, is data. Use it to refine your strategy. Learn from the market's feedback without letting it destroy your willingness to participate.
Treat it like a learning model, not a casino. Okay, that makes a lot of sense for investing. What about just life decisions, bigger picture stuff?
Even more applicable, maybe. Calibrate close to reality in life. Micky framed it as letting go of the shoulds, what society expects, what your parents wanted, what your younger self planned.
Getting real about your actual needs, your actual abilities, your situation right now.
Exactly. Asking those tough questions. Am I doing this job because I want to or because it looks good? Or my 20-year-old self wanted X, but does my 30-year-old self still value that? Maybe the data has changed.
Like if you dread Mondays with a passion, that dread is data, hard data. Your internal system is sending a massive punishment signal.
Absolutely. Calibrating means acknowledging that signal and asking if the supposed reward, status, money, whatever, is actually worth the cost to your well-being. Maybe your internal reward function needs recalibrating.
So you adjust your goals. Maybe try small life experiments, Micky suggested, like taking a class, shadowing someone, gathering new data about yourself and the world.
Yeah, actively seeking that feedback to refine your policy, your life strategy.
And then don't break your RL system in life.
This feels like the key to resilience, doesn't it?
Totally. Micky explained it as that cycle. Choice, action, experience, reward, or setback, repeat. If your choices consistently lead to setbacks, frustration, feeling like a failure,
you develop that learned helplessness. You just stop trying new things, stop taking risks because you expect pain.
It's a really dangerous feedback loop. So the antidote Micky pointed to is when you fail, don't just wallow. Analyze what happened. What can I learn? Treat it as data to update your model, not as proof that you suck.
Record and analyze. Don't just abandon ship. Right. And consciously find ways to reward yourself for effort, for small steps. Celebrate tiny victories. Keep that learning engine fueled. And crucially, don't let other people define your rewards. Figure out what truly motivates you.
That internal reward function have to be yours.
Yeah.
And Musk. He doesn't just talk about this stuff, he lives it. Micky brought up the first principles approach again.
Yeah, the rocket cost example is perfect. He didn't just accept that rockets are expensive. He asked why. What are they made of?
Aluminum, copper, carbon fiber. What do those actually cost?
And he found the raw materials were only like 1 or 2% of the total cost, meaning everything at manufacturing, the bureaucracy was massively inefficient.
That insight, born from first principles, led directly to SpaceX focusing on reusability. Changed the whole game. He didn't accept the reality presented to him, he dug down to the physical reality.
And Micky shared that amazing story about the XAI supercluster too, needing 100,000 GPUs in 6 months, when suppliers said 18-24 months.
Impossible, right? But he broke it down. What do you actually need? Building, power, cooling, networking.
Found an old factory, rented generators for a small city, rented a quarter of the U.S. mobile cooling capacity, used Tesla batteries to smooth the power surges.
Which is genius, using his own tech to solve a bottleneck.
Right. And the craziest part Micky mentioned, Musk sleeping in the data center, pulling cables himself, working 247 shifts. Didn't just do it, they doubled it to 200,000 GPUs.
That's living the calibration.
Yeah.
Confronting the physical limits and engineering around them relentlessly, and keeping that RL loop going by focusing on the mission, the usefulness, not the impossible odds.
It's a powerful demonstration of both principles in action. Ruthless realism combined with unstoppable drive.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What's the big takeaway from Musk's philosophy, as Micky interpreted it?
I think Micky nailed it.
Yeah.
It's about building this system for growth, a system that's brutally honest about reality, always learning, always adjusting.
But also fiercely protective of your own motivation, your own RL loop. You need both the calibration and the reinforcement.
Exactly. Reality checks without crushing your spirit. Motivation without losing touch with facts.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Am I really calibrating in my own life? Or am I running on old assumptions? Am I protecting my own drive, or am I letting setbacks shut me down?
And Micky threw in that kicker from Musk, too. If we're really close to digital superintelligence, maybe AI will tell us if we're in a simulation.
Whoa, okay, that's a head trip.
But it raises the stakes, maybe. How important is it for us to be maximally truth-seeking, keep learning, keep our own RL loops strong to navigate whatever future is coming?
Yeah. Are you playing the game or just watching? Participant or spectator? Lots to chew on there. Maybe the AI will have answers soon.
I'll have to wait and see on that one.
And that's our Sip and Talk for today. Wow, what a fascinating dive into Musk's thinking, thanks to Micky's insights.
We really hope this sparks some ideas for you, whether it's about investments, career stuff, or just how you tackle life's curveballs.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to Sip and Talk wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, leave us a 5-star review. It genuinely helps other people find the show.
Totally. And speaking of finding cool stuff, you absolutely have to check out our friend Micky's YouTube channel. It's called Mickytolife.
Yeah, he does great stuff. Memes, music, wine tasting, travel vlogs. Super fun.
And his new vlog just dropped. He went to Cheongju in Korea. Laughs.
Cheongju? How many people have even heard of Cheongju? Seriously, go check it out. It looks amazing because it's not the usual spot.
Exactly. So go subscribe, Mickey to Life on YouTube. You won't regret it.
Thanks for sipping and talking with us today.
We'll catch you next time.